good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Elevation Series, Episode 2. Today we'll be digressing on a topic, the numbers behind the rig, building a finance career in the oil and gas. And we have a seasoned speaker in our midst today. The last time I checked, he is on the call. Mr. Olashinde, the Head of Finance, Well Construction Services, Geoplex Drillteq, is our guest speaker for today.
My name is Udiapo Margaret. I'm the Operations Officer for the Elevation Community, and welcome to another Elevation Series, Episode 2. Yes, so for persons who are just joining us for the first time, or you've joined us before, probably in our Episode 1 series, and you're wondering, what is the Elevation Community all about, or why do we exist? So I'm here today to tell you why we exist. So too much good career advice in this region sits behind a closed door. Could be a family friend, a former colleague, a network you were never introduced to. And that's why the Elevation Community is here, to open that door. So basically, what we do is we connect students and young professionals, even graduates, across Nigeria and West Africa with leaders who have already walked the path. And we ask them the questions nobody answers publicly. And that is why we're here today. We're hosting an amazing speaker who is Sheriff Olashinde, who has nearly 2 decades of experience in the energy finance sector. You can almost imagine someone with nearly 3 decades of experience. He has a lot on the table for us today, and that's why we're here. Basically to listen, to hear from him, to understand how this whole career journey works. And I'll be handing over the mic to our host, Augustine Isioma Nosike, who's going to be taking us through the session with our amazing speaker. Over to you.
Welcome again to the Elevation Series. Why I actually built the Elevation community is basically, as Margaret has mentioned, right, to for us to get the conversation that we will not get openly. How can we get these conversations answered for us? Right. So I built this community so we can have the honest, local, and free of total gatekeeping. Right. Every session we tend to bring in a new leader who will speak to us, young students, young professionals that we are, tell us how they were able to navigate their journey throughout the entire industry, and how we can actually get into this said industry with the skills that is currently required as per the current needs of different businesses. So that is what we'll be taking ourselves through. Right. So I would, with great pleasure, I would want to introduce our speaker. All right. So Mr. Sheriff Olashinde, he brings over 2 decades of finance leadership across the energy sector, like the oil and gas industry, to his role as Head of Finance of Well Construction Services at Geoplex Drillteq Limited. Now, his career spans some of the biggest names in the offshore drilling industry. He started at Transocean, as an accountant at Transocean, where he grew to senior management accountant, to chief accountant, and then before moving to Seadrill, where he spent nearly 12 years as the Head of Finance at Seadrill also. So alongside his corporate career, he is also the founder and CEO of Pristine Company Limited, a real estate and investment firm he has led since 2020, which has given him a rare dual perspective as both a finance executive and an entrepreneur. He holds an MBA from the University of Lagos and a first degree from the University of Ilorin. His expertise covers finance forecasting, management accounting, financial reporting, capital planning. So with a track record he built in one of the most demanding and capital-intensive industries in the entire world. That's the oil and gas industry. So I will stop sharing right now and bring on a guest speaker. So of course I want to send emojis and all, giving him a thought to speak to us.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. It's wonderful, and I'm happy to be here. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir, loud and clear. Welcome, sir. And it's a great pleasure to have you here. Currently, we have 25 persons on this call. hopefully more persons will join us again. The numbers are actually increasing already. So hopefully more persons will join us again. Welcome to this session where we'll try and break, like we mentioned earlier on, the finance industry, the finance sector to people, for them to understand what is the finance industry, what do they do in finance, why finance, and then again, also we'll be speaking about your journey in this industry. So firstly, over to you. We're going to speak about how you got started in finance. That will be the first part of it. So Mr. Sheriff, how did you get started in the world of, in the field of finance in the oil and gas industry?
All right. Thank you very much. Once again, I welcome everyone to this session. I'm happy to be part of the session, and it is part of giving back to the people that are coming behind. It is what I call pass it on. Some of us have had our moments, and then we need to pass some of this knowledge and share it with people that are coming behind us. So it's one of the things I am very, very passionate about. I call it pass it on. So when Isioma approached me to come and be part of this session, I was really, really happy, because he happened to approach something that is very core in me, and that is sharing knowledge and passing the message on to the next generation. How did I start in this business? Like he said in his intro, my background was pure science, physics, chemistry, biology. In those days, Fikemba, we call it. And then I studied biochemistry, not out of choice, but out of events. And the moment I mentioned that I studied physics, chemistry, biology, the trajectory will be you want to study medicine. But like they say, life happens. Things happen in life. People used to say Nigeria happens. I disagree. Life happens everywhere we are. So events will happen. You are the one that should adjust to the reality of what you are facing. So to cut the long story short, I couldn't get into medicine. So what was available was biochemistry. All along, I wasn't happy about it, but that was what was there. This period, where you have multiple of universities, where you have a private university. In my days, you only have very few top universities, and then even not all the state universities that you have today were there then. By the way, I went to university between 1988 to 1992. So if you put that into context, you'll probably be able to understand what Nigeria environment was at the time. So it's not like now that you are, but every season has its own opportunity. You have your challenges, you will have your opportunities. So the fact that we had limited university has its own setback, but also offered its own opportunities. Now you have many options. It has its benefit as well as its drawback. So individual will have to decide as you go on your journey in life what is best for you, or make the best of where you have found yourself, or make the best of the realities. Whichever way you put it, I will always want to encourage us to make the best of whatever we have to do. So I studied biochemistry, and I came out with a second-class upper. And now the options at that time will have been either go back to do master's, PhD. And by the way, most of my colleagues, friends are professors in biochemistry now, professor of biochemistry. So everybody will have their own journey. I would like all of us to realize that every life follows a path. Some paths are intentional, others are accidental. But for your personal efficiency, it's about making your path increasingly intentional. I repeat, make your path increasingly intentional. I'm sorry. One moment, I would like to show my face. One moment. I don't know if you can see my face now.
Your camera is turned on, but I think the camera is blocked. There should be a button that you can move at the camera top there.
Wow. So unfortunate, I don't know how to put this in on a computer. Anyway, don't allow the technology to show us. If I had known that this would be coming up, I would have shown the face, because I requested whether you need to see my face, and I was told it won't be necessary in the first instance, so it's not a problem. I'll try and see if we can get my face, and I'll see how I can bring it in, but if not, just bear for now and listen to me. Is it? Can you see me now?
I can see your background. Yeah, I can see your background. Oh. Yeah.
Just one moment. I'm trying to see why that. Okay, one moment. I'm using multiple screens.
Okay.
Can you see me? Is it possible?
So maybe one of the screens background is showing, but then again we can proceed, and maybe in the midst of the middle of the call, if you can find it around, but that'll be fine. Still find other ways.
All right.
Matters the most.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Well, let's manage it for now like this. If I had known, I would have tried to set it up. So going back to what I was saying, every life has a path, and some paths are intentional, some are accidental. Your personal optimization, personal efficiency is more about making your path more increasingly intentional. And how does that come in? When I finished university and it was time to move on to the next phase, I left university at a peculiar time in Nigeria, and that was June 12th crisis of 1993. Like I told you, I left university in 92. We do our service in 93, and then the heat of 1993 elections. Some of you might not be aware, but the short story about it was the June 12th crisis. The election was in June 1993, June 12, 1993, and all the problems started between that period and the whole of 1994, which was really tough. So the economy was tough. The reality was that, in fact, the existing jobs were actually gotten eroded. So things were really tough for the country. So it was really, really tight. Everybody was trying to survive. Like, people will tell you what you want to do, how do you want to get money, how do you want to get a job. It was really tough. I have not seen Nigeria being in that kind of situation. However, the reality was that when I was in the school, I was equally good in commercials, what we call economics, history, and thereabouts. So it was easy for me to maneuver from science to management science, or to cross even from science to non-science environment. So because I had my economics and all that, and I was very good in mathematics, being a science person, so it was easier for me to navigate from science to social science. And then I can happen to be the toast of the time, toast of the society at the time. Like, you have ICANN, you are chartered, it opens door for you. Up till now, it still does, because the language of commerce is finance. You need to know how money are generated, utilize, source, and apply. There's so many things. Every organization will need a finance person. And in fact, every human being is actually an accountant without realizing he is. Because you want to have more money, you want to reduce your expenses, you want to invest, you want to have a kind of financial assurance around your life. And so that is part of things every human being would desire. However, it works for some people. They will just be in an organization, and the organization will take care of them. And there will be people like that. And there will be others. You have to create things for yourself. So, like I said, you need to make a more intentional decision as you journey in your life. So at that time, I decided to go for ICANN. So I wrote my ICANN, and then after the ICANN, before the ICANN, I was in a law audit firm where I was practicing. It was called Transocean & Co. at that time. So I was writing my ICANN, and for those of us who belong to that generation, when you are writing ICANN, you don't have much of social life. It says from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's not like now that you have online studies opportunity and all that. So you have to be physically in class. Saturday, from morning till evening, from maybe 8 in the morning till 9 in the evening, you are always there Saturday, Sunday. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, no church on Saturday or Sunday, you have to focus on that. So it was an intensive study period. And that is what I would say, you give it what it takes. The reality of the time is that you have exams and you have prioritized writing these exams. So your focus is totally on that. It does not mean that doing all that guarantees you will pass. And like I said, I don't like to be called a motivational speaker. I'm a practical realist. I am sure you will have listened to a lot of motivational speakers, and I'm very sure none of them will ever tell you it will be easy. In fact, in one of early contacts in finance, I remember we called the lecturer Wombi. I can't remember his proper name now. And somebody remarked in the class, it is not easy. Then he re-echoed it. He said, oh, it is not easy. Then in my counter reaction, I said, it was not meant to. I said, it's not meant to be easy. So the lecturer picked it up and said that, yes, thank you very much, Sheriff. It's not meant to be easy. Otherwise, if it were to be easy, everybody would be in it. What do you call it? With respect to everybody's discipline, everybody is needed in society, whether you are a pepper seller, or whether you are agbero, or whether you are whatever you call it out, whatever, everybody is part of the society and everybody is needed, but for different purposes. So you choose to be an accountant, so don't think it will be as easy as the person that chooses to sell pure water. There is nothing wrong in selling pure water. I want to say that there are pure water sellers that might be richer and more financially stable than a chartered accountant. So it's not about your comfort, it's about your decisions. So what do you choose? If you choose A, then focus on your A with all your energy and your intention. And that is the essence of my talk around that. So it was not meant to be easy, because if it were to be easy, everybody would do it. So you choose your battle. So the battle I chose at that time was to navigate into finance area. So writing ICANN, after the ICANN, I had to do my MBA, because MBA was also the in thing at the time. It's just like now when the tech bro or tech sector seems to be spending money, and everybody in the university want to come out and say, oh, I'm a tech bro. Oh, I don't know what you call it. Pardon me, my children will laugh at me when I say you're a tech bro, because some of them are practically your age mates, and some of them are out of university, and some are still in the university. So it is possible that in your generation, you will talk about tech guy. Oh, it's a tech bro, it's a tech bro. In those type of hours, it was more of finance. You do MBA, you do ICANN, and then with your MBA, it opens door for you, because people trust you with their finances. And like I said, every organization needs accountability. Every organization has financial responsibility to the owners, to the society, to other users, other stakeholders. So therefore, you need people that will look at your money side of your business, irrespective of what you do. Even if you are a school or a supermarket, you will still need people that will look at your the finances of the company. So I will want all of us to always remember that we need to work continuously in the process of making our decisions. We will take actions that produce the best overall outcome for us. That should be our focus. We should look at, what am I doing now that can guarantee or encourage or lead me to tomorrow that I desire. I don't know if how many of us know this book, If the Tomorrows Come, Sidney Sheldon. It's one of those old bestsellers. I read it in the 80s. It's about if tomorrow comes. Now, how is it relevant here? As all of us are here, looking forward to the opportunities that may come and may not come tomorrow. So what if it comes tomorrow? How ready are you? How prepared are you? So you have to prepare for the future that you want to future. It does not guarantee anything. Again, prepare for the future you want to future. It does not mean that you will have it easy. It does not mean that, Eldorado, you have all the money. But you will be intentional in that pursuit. Now, if tomorrow do come, if that future do come, if that opportunity finally comes, are you ready? So it is better you prepare for that opportunity that may or may not come, rather than when the opportunity comes, it will not meet you ready. So I did I can doing MBA, getting myself ready for that future. So when the opportunity come, I crossed into the sector. You remember I started my career as audit, in the audit.
Yeah.
So part of the skills that you need to hone is audit. So when the opportunity come and I was able to cross into the oil and gas, I was actually ready. So I don't know if I've taken the first part of your question.
Yeah, you've taken it like very, very, very well. I mean, from the break from biochemistry, talking about metabolic pathways, to now talking about assets, it's a whole lot, right? So if we are now saying, okay, you were able to get to the top of the pyramid when it comes to finance in the oil and gas industry, heading Transocean, heading Seadrill, where we have already, I would say, those who actually studied accounting and the managerial courses, right? Although you have to do your ICANN and everything to get into the accounting field. So I'm not saying, how were you able to grow in these phases? How were you able to actually, okay, yeah, I studied biochemistry, but now I've got my ICANN, I've got my MBA also. What now, please, when you are now in the industry, mixing with other accountants who studied accounting, probably have their bachelor's, master's and everything instead accounting, and probably have the same skills like you, right? What, please, when we are now all on the same page in the same company, how were you able to navigate your journey? Say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be from this place and now I'm going to become the head of this. How was that possible?
All right. Let us also have some assumptions or background foundation in our discussion. Everything predicates on, let us say, God factor, because I don't want to speak. I know we have different sensibility here. We are human beings, we are African, we are Nigerian, we are highly religious. So there are some fundamental assumptions, God factor in everything we do. And let us say that is available to all of us. So it will become irrelevant in the question. It's a function and it is equal for all of us. So the effort of individual will now come to play. Your skills will now come to play. Your success will practically be determined by a few things. Your knowledge, what you know, your practice of what you know, and an element called talent. Now, what are the skills you have? I used to paint these with football. I know some of us might not like football, but some of us will probably be lovers of football. When you look at somebody like Ronaldo, Pristine Ronaldo, CR7, you will see a very high knowledge, high practice, but people will argue that his talent is not as high as that of Lionel Messi. It could be an argument, but for me, if you ask me, I as a person, I love the two of them, but two people cannot be on the same level. Perhaps I will sit to Ronaldo. But Messi is more natural with the football. He has more talent. So there are some things that if you don't have, you can work on it to acquire, but you might not be as good as the person that is naturally talented. So I would like you to know that effort and practice are major player apart from your talent. Talent is good, but it's not all to it. So I will say that when you get into the field and you are on it, there are some traits that you will have to bring on board. And I'm very sure no successful person will tell you he becomes successful without hard work, without discipline, without focus, without plan, without grit, without never say die. These are the ingredients of success. And like I said, success has a pattern. It has formula, though we might not be able to execute it the same way. I will go back to the football analogy. I'm not sure how many of us remember Balotelli. He played for Liverpool. Bundle of skills, bundle of talent, but somehow, sometimes it tends not to be disciplined. So you see him being thrown out of the team easily. Mario, when he was at Inter with Mario told him, go play. Balotelli made the mistake. He got a yellow card. He got this foot pressure. So it was a bundle of skills, bundle of talent, but he didn't get to the level of somebody like Messi or Ronaldo. Those have extra energy of being more disciplined. And to bring it home, I'll use the same football. I know most of us might not be there at that time. In 1989 or thereabout, we had a very solid Flying Eagle team. One good footballer at that time was Etim Essen, very brilliant. We call him Nigeria Maradona. He was on the eve of going for the Junior World Cup or something around. Before we went for the World Cup, he was attacked by armed robber and he was shot. So the country put in a lot of money to get him ready, and somehow we went for the World Cup. But what happened? We didn't even get out of the group stage. Not because we were bundle of talents. However, that team could not have been described as exceptionally disciplined. So whatever you do, your talent is huge, it's important, but talent without discipline will not get you there. So when I got into this sector of oil and gas, apart from the knowledge, you remember I told you there are 3 factors that will determine your success: your knowledge, what you know, how you practice what you know, and the talent factor, or whatever you call it, skills, call it talent factor. You need a lot of analytical skills. And if you are very analytical, finance becomes an easy cake for you, because there are a lot of analysis that you will do in finance. So it is not enough to be disciplined. It is not enough to be hardworking. It is not enough to have focus. You also need to be analytical. You also need to have the extra energy to ask what I used to call the why questions. You must be able to ask why, because that gives you the edge. Why am I doing this? What is next? Why do I need to do it this way? Why can't I do the next way? So those are the things that build your analytical skills. People think to say that it is who you know. No, it is more of what you know that will demonstrate to the people that know you that you are capable of doing it. In my own journey, it has always been more of what I know, not much of who I know. What I know and what people know that I know probably brings more referrals for me than anything else. I don't know if I've answered your question in that regard.
Yes, you've answered the question very, very well. So you get to realize that, okay, it's not just about, first of all, it's what you know, and also the discipline that you add to what you know to build on your talent, and then you begin to grow in the said industry. So I would now focus on the skills an accountant should have, or a finance person should have in the industry. So of course, there's finance in every industry, right? But then if the oil and gas is different from other finance in oil and gas, probably is different from other finance in other industries. What are the skills that are required for you to grow or to get into this space, aside from getting the ICANN and probably an MBA? What are the skills that are also still required, aside from having a certificate that should probably get you into the space? What will you be needing? What's the day-to-day like for a finance person?
I'll still go back to that critical questions that you must always ask. That critical question leads to efficiency, and it brings solution to mind. And that critical question is your ability to continuously answer the why question. Why? The moment you don't have the why to ask anymore means you are not going to solve the problem. why am I doing what am I doing? Why am I doing this way? Once you are able to find out why you are doing it and why you need to do it, the how will come out. Now, that how do I need to do it? You need to now bring in some actions into it. If I've been doing it this way, are there ways I can do it faster, better, with ease? The first time I do a task, that is when I invest all the energies needed. And I will start thinking about how an hour's task can become 30 minutes. I start thinking about it immediately. If I've been doing it this way, I know why I am doing it. I have to repeat this thing to next month. Why do I need to repeat it and suffer the same 2-3 hours to get this report out? Then I go to how. In answering the how, it leads you to acquiring extra skills. If you are in finance, it is sine qua non, given that you must know Excel, not simple Excel, advanced Excel. You must have strong analytical skills. It is not about being a chartered accountant anymore. It's about productivity. Now, you are all chartered accountants, but are you equally productive at the same time? If the answer is no, ask those who are more productive why or what are they doing that makes them more productive. So on the journey, as you are acquiring the skills, you must bring in that critical question. Why do I need to continuously do this every day for one hour? Are there ways I can do it faster, better? And one thing that you will see along this journey is knowledge sharing. I used to tell my team and the people that train or that work under me, I invest in them a lot. I train and I raise them up. And they will tell you, wow, why are you doing this? I said, for one or two reasons, I'm going to get my return on this investment. They will laugh. I said, no, once I train you, you imbibe my mentality, I will expect your input into your own output is my own input. So if I'm able to invest in them to have a quality output, which will become my own input, it means that my own input will become quality input from the source. So I go back to invest in the team, in the line, in the production, call it production line. I invest in them such that when they are pushing the output, their own outputs to my table, it will become a quality input that I work with. So by the time I need to push my own output out, it will be review, rearrange, edit, represent. Even while I'm doing that, I will bring in my team and said, okay, this is what we have done. This is how I think you should do it. This will give me more time. Don't do it this way. Yes. In fact, one of my junior colleagues said, Oga, why is it that when you write things for us, we go and do it the same way that you have suggested? When we bring it, you will tear it apart. I said the first tab is not the best tab. The first tab, when you come to me, was when I give you the first tab and I said, okay, let's map it out this way. By the time you are going to work on it, my mind is already thinking about the next level. Is it really good? Is it good enough? Is it this? Is it that? So in that process of analysis, I will look at, I can add this, I should remove this, make this, because I need to look at the focus. What question am I trying to answer? Who am I trying to train? Or who is the user of this output? If whoever is going to use this output, can I make it seamless for the person? Can I close my eyes if the person calls me on a Saturday evening, usually the MD, asking question, will I be able to, without being with my computer, answer his question? If the answer is yes, then I've achieved my objective. So your analytical skills must be up, and you must, on your journey, acquire what I will call auxiliary knowledge that will aid your delivery. You cannot be a finance person without knowing how to use, manage data. Data analytics, yes. But the key thing is every financial information will start with financial data. Then how do you aggregate the data to give meaningful information? So that is what is next. Almost everybody, like you have on the football field. Sorry for those of us who don't like football. Permit me to continue to use this because it is very, very common and we can easily relate with it. On the football field, you would have at least 11 football players on each side. Let us even forget about those who are on the bench. If you have to bring them, you will see that each team will come with minimum of about 20 football players. You will have 11 on each side on the field at a time. And the coach will be analyzing, this guy is getting weaker. Let me pull this one. Oh, this one is this one is that. Despite all that, all the football players will not produce the same efficiency. So sometimes you need a Leo Messi factor in your team, or a Cristiano Ronaldo factor, or an Mbappe factor. But despite all these factors that I'm talking about, there are so many other people that will be talented, that will be playing the same football team, and that will be playing together in the same football team. If you go to the Barcelona of the golden era, where you had Ronaldo, you had Lionel Messi, you have Iniesta, you had so many of them, Iniesta and Xavi, and Xavi, Iniesta. You have a bunch of talents that are together playing together, and then Messi will be like golden boy shiny, but you will know for sure that this team is full of talent. So it is possible also that you will have, or you play in a team whereby all of you will be bundle of talent. That is beautiful for the team output, for the departmental output, for the company outputs. So there will still be people that you know, oh, excellent input, excellent colleagues. So you will have people like that. And I actually had. And what happened, let me share this with you quickly. It was in my days in Transocean. Two of us, there is another guy that is exceptionally analytical. A very good friend of mine. We are friends. We became friends on the job. In fact, for the mere fact that you compete with people, so to say, I don't want to use the word compete, we complement each other. Everybody has their own role to do. So for the mere fact that we work in the same organization and we might be looking up to similar position in terms of promotion, didn't make us enemy. In fact, it made us the best of friends, because you know that output is coming from A, our output is coming from S. Oh, this is good. You know what to expect. But there are people in your team that when they submit their output, you will still look at it as questions. So, and that is the beauty of life. It is not all perfect people coming together to form a team. You need to play to the strength of your team members. So if you want to think about yourself being Lionel Messi will be jobless if he's not fitted with football. So it is a team game. Wherever you find yourself, you are a member of a team, you have something to add, others have something to add. Yes, there will be some people that will be not optimal. Yes, there will be. And that is why you have performance appraisal assessment at the end of the year. Then you will have what we call talent management, developmental skills. What are the things that you think a member of your team needs to do well? Otherwise, you will not be giving back to the society. The moment you are out of the system, are you saying the company will collapse? The answer is no. So you must raise the new wave of leaders. You will not be there forever, even if you want to be, even if it were to be your company. It is not possible that you will be there forever. Permit me to quickly add this. Former President Olashinde Obasanjo celebrated his 94th birthday some time ago, and he was saying that irrespective of 94, you will say, oh, this man has had it good. He has been president or leader of the country at least on 2 different occasions, as a military leader and as a civilian leader. Excellent career, excellent. It's not about money. I was reading what his commentary, and he said, irrespective of what anybody say, life is too short. Before you close your eyes, you are in your old age. So it means that every milestone matters. Wherever you find yourself, it matters. You need to do the very best at the point that you are in your career. And like I said, and I would like you to remember, life follows a path. all of us here in this session, we started from primary school. Some of us will not remember more than 3-4 of our primary school mates as we speak. Why? We have followed different paths. Then we move to secondary school. Maybe we'll have more bond with them. Then we will remember a few of our nuisances. Oh, this guy, he like to eat our food. He like to play football. This one like to fight. Then we'll move to university. We will have another path with another people that we will have similar background. So life is a journey, is a path. It follows a path. Your responsibility is to continuously look for quality decisions that will help you in your journey. I hope I've answered your question again.
Yeah, you've answered it very well. Yes, very well, sir. Very well. So we have some questions on the chat box, and I'll just like us to just dive deep into that and start answering them. So let's go. We have the first question saying, how can we balance working in the corporate space and starting your own company simultaneously? I think this is because of your profile that says you're a founder and CEO of Pristine Edge company. So he's asking, Manuel Nacho is asking, how can you balance being in the corporate space and still starting your own company simultaneously?
All right. First thing, everywhere I've worked, I've always disclosed the kind of interest I have. When I was in Transocean, they knew I had interest in the school. When I was in Seadrill, they knew I was, even in Geoplex, everybody knows that I have my, what we call side hustle. But what is interesting is that I am not in a business that is competing with what I am doing presently. So it's about capacity. If you have the energy and you can still support. And what I say I do, basically I will support with ideas, not physically doing. I will support with finance. Let's type it. I have interest in real estate. I'm not an engineer, but an architect will design the structure of the estate I'm looking for. I need 10 apartments with 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom. Design it. He's doing out there. And when he designs it, I look at it and say, okay, fine. I don't like it this way, turn it, turn it. He finally gets anything out. Okay, fine. That's the architect. You have the structural engineer who will do the structural work. It's about reviewing what they have done. Is it answering my question? Yes. And remember, why are we doing this? Whether you like it or not, you will leave your comfort zone. You are working in Total, ExxonMobil, Transocean of this world, whatever. Or you are in the presidency of the X and Y, the time will come, you will not be there. So you must prepare for what they call the raining day. The day will come. That is the reality. Obasanjo was President Olusegun Obasanjo was formerly a military head of state between 1976 and 1979. He came back as the president of Nigeria between 1999 and 2007. So you can imagine the period he was out of office as the president, as the head of state. He came back, he had another opportunity, which is typically not generally available for most people. So he is probably extremely favored by God. Remember, I said God factor is already the underlying factor. So I don't want to be quoted as if I'm talking outside that realm. Everything is sitting on the foundation of what God has willed. We are just trying to explain the reality that somebody was a military head of state between 1976 and 1979, and 20 years after he came in as the president of Nigeria for another 8 years. You will think that this man has had it all. It has a session with him. He will still tell you that there are things he feels he could do differently. I remember clearly when he left the office in 2007 or 2007 or 2008, he was interviewed and he was asked, what will he do differently? Despite the fact that he had all the opportunity, he said, no, I think there is a sabotage in the energy sector. That is one area I would do differently. Well, Constitution will not allow you to come back. I hope you know. So it doesn't mean that what you are doing is necessarily, or you can't do what you are doing because you are in the paid employment. It depends on if it is competing with your work or if it's not competing, and the kind of thing is taken from you. I need to support with mental support, not a physical energy. I don't need to leave my work day one, go and sit down there. No. There are things that will come to me and I need to review. Okay, I do my cash flow, personal cash flow. If I'm going to get this bonus, I need to invest it here. Then apart from that, when you have created a couple of investments, you need to manage it corporately. Otherwise, you will be paying more tax. And that was one of the reasons when I was talking to Islam, I was saying that if I have my way, I want everybody to be financially literate. And I said, if possible, you can all be chartered accountant. I know it's difficult. I'm not asking all of you to be chartered accountant. What I'm trying to say is that I want you to be financially literate. By the time you are having asset, and is in your personal name, you will suffer more taxes because personal taxes will be seen immediately on your income from those investments. But if it is incorporated entity, the company will receive the income, the expenses of the company will be deducted before you have available net profit that can be taxed. So that's just in a way to manage your finances. That's why some of us would have incorporated entity to manage some of our investments. And remember, our investments are not competing with what you do, number one. And number two, they are not what would need your physical presence to the extent that you will now say, oh, I need to shut down, I need to lie, I don't want to go to work today. No. That's not what we are talking about here. And it will be very, very strange because there are people that will be there to manage it. I remember we always have fund managers. When you have, especially those of us in oil and gas, those guys in the stock market, they will always come around, ask you, okay, let us invest money for you. There's so many of them. Asset management company, ARM, so many of them. They will come, they will place money with them and they help you get shares, invest it, and all that. So that's one leg. You bring the income in as an entity, not to come to you as a person. Because if it come into your personal account, it becomes tax on personal income tax level. So if it comes through company income, it will probably give you some mileage to reutilize it, to reinvest it without even distributing it. Because if you don't pull the income out, nothing is taxed as a dividend income to you. So you can grow your asset without suffering excess tax. In fact, somebody will tell you the richest man on earth today is Elon Musk. He's a trillionaire in dollars. Right? Out of this $1 trillion, if you go and look at his physical cash, according to what somebody said, he says 0.1% of that what is probably his physical cash, which will be like 1 billion, 2 billion. The 99.9% of his investment is in those corporate SpaceX, whatever he has created. All right? So those are where the wealth are in, not in his hand. So you will find out that as individuals, as you are growing, you must have investment plan. And as your investment plans are growing, you will not have a choice but to incorporate an entity to manage it if you really want to be highly efficient. And then you need the knowledge. To get the knowledge, try and be financially literate. You don't have to be chartered accountant, but be financially exposed. MBA was a shortcut a lot of us or a lot of people used in the past. So it's still open. You can still have an MBA that gives you a similitude of that. So you don't have to cheat your present employer by wasting their time or their resources thinking that no. You have your private time. After 5 o'clock, you are told you just need to review the analysis. And if you have the skills, it's not something that will take you 2 hours to review. You have your Saturday and Sunday that are yours. And if you are highly energetic, you can look things up. And there are people that you will also pay to get some things done. You can have a foot soldiers, a project manager that will give you update the way you want it. You design your results and tell him, report it this way. So it's just about managing your time, managing the people, but essentially don't do things that will be at conflict with your existing employment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we Yeah, we have another question again. Actually, I'm having three questions here, but I'll go to one from Akwewe Udi that says, "Hi, my name is Akwewe Udi Margaret, and I'm an accounting graduate, and the question is on finance and AI." So firstly, she's asking, what's your take on finance and AI? And also, which finance processes have you automated or are we automating using AI? And what made you to start there? And are there somewhere else? And also, how do you decide what's safe to hand to AI versus what still needs a human eye, especially with sensitive financial data? So three questions. Firstly, what's your take on finance and AI?
All right. Thank you very much. Like I said, this generation, you are exceptionally blessed. And because you are likely going to become lazier. Just understand that. You are likely going to become lazier because in those days, we had the dictionary to consult. So for anything that is not, in those days, you will pick your dictionary or encyclopedia, you read things up. Here, you have an assistant. Artificial intelligence will make some job easier and redefine some other jobs. It is an assistant to whatever you do. It's there for law, for medicine, for finance, for everybody. So for me, it is a complementary development. The only people that will get kicked out are those who cannot use AI to support whatever their deliveries are. Then, so AI and finance or accounting, they are symbiotic. It is not something that you throw away. It is something you should benefit from. Now, the question, what do you hand over to AI? I would like to say that there are some generic AI, which is very, very open. And there are some that you pay, which are premium. So if you use the premium leg, you have more safety. If you lose an open end, your prompt, the way you will couch or ask questions, you need to be very creative with your prompts. So it is not that I will take the result of all of us in this class, we're 44, and I will put all our names and I will throw it to AI and I will be doing that. No. If there are specific things I want AI to do, I can change the full company and call it A. Company A wants this. This is the capital. If it is in naira, I can change it to dollars. I can, if it's supposed to be hypothetically a $5 million project, I can call it 1 million. I can change divide it by a factor so that it will not be same. And I'm sure the person I'm speaking to or the person that asked this question will understand what I'm saying. You can vary the parameter by a factor. You can bring in a discounting factor. For example, your numbers are there at 100%. You can multiply, delete, or divide by a factor. So you can say, okay, for every number, multiply by a factor of 0.66, which will make it unusual for anybody to guess where the data is coming from. Okay, take it at 66% or take it at 42% or apply a straight division of 3 randomly on everything and throw the numbers into AI, let it run for you. So AI is complementary to whatever you do or should be complementary. Don't drop it. This is the next thing everybody must be into. It has come to stay. It has come to help. It has come to make your job easier. Your prompt must be very good about how you ask, and you should also know that there is confidentiality about your work. So don't throw everything straight to AI. And if you are using a paid version of AI, you have some safety there. But on all the long run, AI also has what we will call responsibility code. AI will not just throw your pass out to the world. No. So there are some things that are being developed around that line, if not yet there. What was the other part of the question? I think I've answered it.
Yeah, so there was one. Okay, I think that was the second one. Which finance process did you automate or have you automated? And what made you start there? And could you give a walkthrough if you automated using AI?
Automating a financial process, I don't even understand what you mean by automating a statement, because the whole of finance is not done on papers anymore. So if it is were to be on Excel, there are so many Excel logic that you will write code, not code, logic, we call it logic. So you get your raw data, you just put it in an input, then your output, you have, okay, what if, or you sum if, or X lookup, and all those parameters, you can do that. You can use your business BI, Power BI, to help you arrange some things faster. But by and large, the enterprise resource planning, your ERP, have done the job for you on the corporate level. You are using Oracle, some other people are using Sage, another could be using SAP. Those accounting package, we don't call them package anymore, you call them ERP. They have automated your process from supply chain to account payable to account receivable. So those things are already in the system. So your numbers are there, they are coming out. Then you pull your numbers in Excel. You don't need to pivot table, which helps you to analyze it further. Or you can use your charts to bring some what do you call it, pictorial presentation to it. So it's not about automating, it's about making job easier. The job is already easier because everything is coming in data, which is every data is a column and row, rows and column. So you are able to throw it around with your Excel, Power BI, all those tools. They are wonderful tools. If you know how to use pivot, it summarizes your data faster. Thank you.
And someone's also asking, still look aware with. We mentioned Pristine Edge Company Limited, your company that you have on the side. So she's an accounting graduate. She's asking, can you hear me, sir?
Okay, you were breaking before.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So, Akwewe is still asking about your company, the Pristine Edge Company Limited, the real estate and investment firm, that she's an accounting graduate. So she wants to know, are you open to having remote interns or graduate accountants that want to work with you for your side company? She's an accounting graduate currently working in the oil and gas sector.
Okay, let's say that there are people already doing that for me. Anyway, so in terms of being open, yes. But is there opportunity at the moment we're speaking? No. And why? Because some people are already doing these things for me. That's about that. But does it mean that I do not have people that we continuously employ in my individual other businesses? There are. It depends on so many factors. Like I told you, I have interest in school. They put in an advert. They need people that can teach or they can facilitate some learning area for our students. Yeah, that does happen. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. One from Chisom Eunice. I'm a biochemistry graduate currently using my waiting time for NYSC to learn data analysis. So what areas in the job market can I use my NYSC to do with these skills?
All right. First thing, NYSC time is what I will advise everybody. The same thing I told my kids. And NYSC time is for you to season yourself in the direction you want to go. You remember when you go to NYSC, you have studied biochemistry, from biology and chemistry. Take it. They will throw you to a school to go and teach biology and chemistry. And it is interesting. That is beautiful. There's nothing wrong in that. I taught chemistry when I was doing my national service. And so there's nothing wrong. It's just part of robustness of all of us. Now, you are doing analytical BI, analytical, what do you call it? Business analytics. Now, it's just about data analysis. Now, what is your plan for the future? Where do you really want to go? Do you really want to go into, for example, finance, or you still want to pursue career in biochemistry, the master's, PhD? Because you will still have a lot of data to analyze. Research work is all about data. You have more tools that help you to present them more graphically than before. In our days, when you do after you have done your lab analysis, you come back and plot them on the graph sheets. So that was the kind of the past. But the future, if you are still going to be in biochemistry, which by all standards is a very good course, you can become master. You can do your master's, PhD. Then you are able to support industries as well. I would like to say quickly here that Nigeria environment is changing. It might not be where we want it to be, such that when you study biochemistry, you end up being a biology or chemistry teacher. Yes, I understand that part. But you also need to understand that there are a lot of food processing entities that they are running now, and they make use of biochemists, nutritionists, microbiologists. It might not be as wide as you have the finance people. I agree with you, but it's still there. So the choice is just, what is the future you want to future? What is the future you envision for yourself? If you want to see yourself in the lab practicing with albino rats and doing your research analysis, it means that you have to go with MSc, PhD, and your data analytics will help you in your data presentation. In fact, today, you hardly see a sound research work being done without an excellent data analytics. It's difficult, because correlation regression analysis becomes more interesting and more easy to relate with and easy to dissect when you use those tools. All right, next.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, so we have Timothy. So Timothy, we have those two questions more. Timothy has a very long question, so I asked him to unmute. Somebody named Timothy Amana. I asked him to unmute and ask the question, because I probably will not be able to speak as he wouldn't. Are you unmuted already, Timothy?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, please ask him.
Okay, good evening, sir. Thank you for sharing your journey. My name is Timothy. So I have my question written down, so I'll just read it out so that you bring insight and clarity to it, sir. So my question is not directly tied to finance, but it's about career architecture and strategic positioning. So like you, I have a foundational background in biochemistry. Currently, I work in research, mail and data analytics. I do project management, and it's within the development sector. And I am actively expanding my practice into HSC, ESG, and environmental risk framework. So here is my long-term goal. My long-term goal is to build a specialized technical consultancy firm that operates at the exact intersection of environmental compliance, data analytics, project management, and operational risk across the energy and development sector at large. So looking at your trajectory, sir, pivoting from biochemistry into audit and acquiring your professional certification and rising to C-suite leadership in oil and gas sector. My first question is, how did you leverage the scientific hypothesis-driven mindset as a biochemist to your advantage when moving into enterprise level strategy? Secondly, how did you identify the right window, strategic opportunities, and mentorship to know when to transition from technical mastery to business leadership? And how can I best sequence my expertise to build market credibility for an enterprise? Finally, given where I am on this part, I currently work in the development sector. I do project management, data analytics, and research. So are there specific opportunities, network, or program in the sector that you would recommend that I check out, considering the fact that I want to be at the intersection of the energy and development sector, the oil and gas sector, and the development sector, sir? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Wonderful questions. I would say better answered by professors. Anyway, the first question is a lot easier for me to handle. You are asking how was I able to leverage on my background in science to what I finally find myself doing. In the course of my presentation, I remember I mentioned about analytical skills. During my days in the university, we had a course called analytical biochemistry. It's a very tough course. And then I remember my professor used to say, whatever you get in this course will determine how far you go in life and all that. So I was like, okay, what is in it? However, what is interesting is that the man was actually right, because when we got into the nitty-gritty of the course, it's extremely analytical. And it's about paying attention to details. Well, I remember one of the questions I did some 30-something years ago. I left university 34 years ago, so I must have done this about 35 years ago. And it's about column chromatography. For those who are biochemistry here or chemistry, you understand when you are doing separation of proteins or amino acids. We did that on the column chromatography and all that and all that. I can't remember the details, but I can give you the skeleton of that. But the critical part of the question that he asked was that, how are you going to improve on the system? And I tell you, a lot of my colleagues, because we had what we normally call, I don't know what you call it, where you will bring yourself and you review some of the past questions, and then you will discuss the questions and all that before the exams and all that, some days before the exams. And I can't remember what you call it. It's off my mind now. And the question was asked, and everybody was given a textbook answers. And I asked them, I said, you have not answered the question this is addressing. And they said, oh, okay, teach us. And I said, the question says, how are you going to improve the results of these experiments? The result of these experiments, not how are you going to improve on color chromatography, separation of amino acids. Sorry if I'm it's a bit technical, it's just take the logic. So then I was asking them, you need to look at the result of that experiment and now come up with how you are going to improve. And clearly I was able to identify two things for them. I said, if you look at these two proteins or amino acid, they actually got separated at the same level, and this one at the same level. So if there is going to be any improvement on this experiment, it is two components that are separated at the same rate that you further need to refine. The whole class went, no, wow. So I leveraged on analytical skills when I finally got into accounting. Because what happens most times, and you are likely going to see this with a lot of people in finance, sometimes things are not 1 + 1 = 2. In fact, most times. So you need to be very robust in your analytical skills to be able to see beyond the numbers sometimes. And that gives you some edge in the sector and even in the exams. Even when you are doing your audit, because you are able to bring in some leverage from your background. Now you ask if you identify the strategic opportunities or something like that. The second question, please. I might have missed that. Timothy. Okay, how did you identify the right window, strategic opportunity and mentorship when transitioning from technical mastery to business leadership? Okay, fine. One of the reasons for doing business, masters in business administration, is to ensure that I was not just technical, because numbers is half of the story. There are people that are running the numbers. There are systems that are running the numbers. So there is a need to actually learn how to manage the process, the people, the business. You can be technically sound. I'm not talking about being unnecessarily political. Any system run by human being will be full of emotions. Any system where we have human interactions, there will be need to maintain some decorum and some balances. I remember in my earlier career, there was a session I attended. It was we call it continuous mandatory program. No, program of MC, mandatory program of continual education. As a chartered accountant, you always go for MCPE. Then, one of the past presidents of ICANN was telling us how finance people need to also understand the politics around where they work. It is not enough that you know the numbers. You also need to balance it. And in one of the sessions, he threw some interesting. He said, don't always cut all the meat off the bone. Leave some things for the bingo. We all laughed. What he's trying to say is that, yes, but the budget of the company says you want to spend 1 naira, 2 naira, this, that. There is not every variation that is a failure. Some are just beyond the executors. So you don't need, you are going to run a project and then we will tell you plus or minus 10%. We could have asked, that's why I mentioned that you don't need, we will be very strict and say, no, once you are over by 1 naira, you are in trouble. But things are not machines. Human beings are not machines. There are emotions. So there are things that could be needed. So you need to bring in some measure of flexibility without losing the discipline that is an accountability that is necessary for those areas. There are some businesses or areas of transactions that are highly volatile, highly risky. You might not have that leverage, but there are some that are not as risky. So you need to learn how to manage people and their emotions as you transition from technical person into business leadership. So it's not about you're supposed to resume by 8 and for every time you do not come in by 8, I take a salary deduction. No. So there are times you need to balance things up. Yes, I agree with you. There is a need to strike a balance between technical know-how and business leadership. You cannot just be no person. You need to bring solution. In fact, some of my colleagues will always tell you when they come with anything, I'll say, okay, so what is your solution? What did you bring to the table? You cannot just bring a problem to me without having a thought of how you want to solve it. And I can now tell you, oh, this one, are you sure this complies with this? Oh, it does. Oh, why do you think about this? Why don't you consider this? In that process, you are training people, want to trust you. And then when they finally arrive at the position that is comfortable to you, it is what we call management by objective, that it is collaborative rather than the man will just tell us, go and do it. So it's not just pushing things on people's neck. You guide them towards what you want. So in that process, you are able to lead with objective, with compassion, and they are ready to follow and learn. So I must tell you, it's part of the reasons I did MBA, because I did my MBA with core strength in management, not only finance. I acquired finance in ICANN and all that. So I did my MBA with strength in management. Then finally, you said you specific opportunity network or programs in the sector I can recommend. You are doing one presently. Network in the sector is vague and it is also huge. Every individual that you meet is a potential customer. Every individual that you meet is a potential helper. So you are better off to keep a friend that you don't need than make anybody an enemy. I repeat, I would rather make you a friend that I will not need than make you an enemy. So what that does for me is that it opens door. If I need anything from you, I won't hesitate to call. But if I've turned everybody around me to an enemy and then we are on extermination of each other's, if I need their help tomorrow, I will not be able to freely work to them. So continue to create a network. It does not mean that you want something. It's not a parasitic network. Don't let us create or have this mindset that I'm looking for a network that will open door for me. You might be the one that will open door for others. So it is a symbiotic that is mutually beneficial. A is benefiting, B is also benefiting. It's a symbiotic relationship when you have a good network. Be open-minded. Don't think that all network will open door for you. It could be that you will be the one open doors for others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. This has been an amazing session. I want to believe everybody here has, please just send in your clapping emojis, your thumbs up. It's been amazing so far. So firstly, it is quite amazing to see industry experts that want to give back to young professionals, right? So it's a bit rare, but then again, when we see experts like this, we just want to appreciate them because some information, things that we can't even buy. You can't see them in an ICANN class, right? To have someone of this level want to speak to young professionals. So I thank you very, very, very much for doing this with us. And to all of us that joined this session, also I'm thanking you Thank you, Emeka. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, the entire elevation community team, and to those of us that are also part of the community. So far, we've had 2 sessions. We had a session with Rike Patuga. It's also posted on YouTube. You can go watch it and understand if you want to break into the world of health, safety, and environmental, so risk management. You can go watch the video and understand the integrity of it. And also now we've had a session with Mr. Sheriff Olashinde, the Head of Finance of Geoplex Drillteq Limited Well Construction Services. He has almost 30 years worth of experience in his belt, right, across finance leadership. So you want to learn more, watch the video, ask the questions. He's also on LinkedIn, right? You can still find a way around it. And please join our WhatsApp community. You can get to share more updates from job opportunities, skills that are required for you to break into the oil and gas industry, different roles in it. And also our next session is going to be with Otto Ename, right, on the 5th of September. Otto Ename is the Vice President Global Accounts for NOV. If you have not, I wouldn't want to miss the session also. He's an engineer, started his career right from SLB, where he grew as a field engineer to becoming the country manager for Cameroon. He also shows this flyer where we have him here. This is him, Otto Ename, Representative of Global Accounts Africa, NOV. From field engineer at Schlumberger to managing director at Baker Hughes Cameroon. He has built his career across Nigeria, Algeria, Congo, DRC, the entirety of the West African nations, and he's one of the people who call the rare Pan-African perspective on going beyond your home market, right? He has a master's degree in mechanical engineering. I wouldn't want anyone to miss this session. Join our WhatsApp channel, join our LinkedIn page, and we're also on TikTok, having almost 30,000 followers on TikTok. So I would want you ask your questions. You would always meet me on LinkedIn, meet me on TikTok, meet me on Instagram. We do this because we want to be able to break the barrier we have with from the industry expert to the young professionals. Let's be able to break that barrier and allow information to be spread to everybody. And let's also, I want to mention that we also are trying to build what we call the ECAI, the Elevation Community AI, a platform that would help you as a young professional who probably is about navigating the journey, will help you apply for jobs. So the job application space is a very hard space. First of all, it's hard to apply for jobs. So now we need the software layer where that, unlike the LinkedIn and the Indeed that we have, you're on that platform and all you need to do is upload a profile. So whenever there's a job opening, you don't need to apply. You need to click apply, right? It will always write your CV for you, or rather navigate your CV in a way that it will fit into that said JD. Applying for jobs is one thing that you need to actually make sure your CV fits to that particular job description. Even though accounting in Geoplex is different from accounting in Schlumberger. So the accountant in Schlumberger is different from accountants in Geoplex, right? So you need to be able to understand that part. So the AI will help you do that and constantly apply for jobs for you without you passing through that hustle of looking for the job, where's the job posted. So before even the job is posted, right, they help you with code emailing templates to help you connect with industry experts. So the ECI, we are still in building phase of it. So I want you also to just put that in mind that something is coming for you, right? So our LinkedIn page is posted here on the chat box. The WhatsApp community is posted here on the chat box also, where we have different challenges also coming up for us. So I'll plead with all of us to join the channels, and thank you for joining this session. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And see us next time on the 5th of September, where we'll have another session again with Otto Ename. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope to be part of the session, even if you have to be an observer. The secret, we have created this community. Let us support each other. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.